Morning all, it's a beautiful autumn Saturday morning here in Ireland and it's about to be made even better. So welcome on board, and of course I'm happy. I mean, just look at the morning we've got here, and look at the bike I'm on as well. Ah yes, my weekend favourite, and I'm off to reach the ultimate prize this Saturday morning, which is a fabulous cup of coffee. And those of you who know me by now know how much I love my coffee. So, a few things to tell you. As you know by now, I've recently bought the VFR 800. And at this time of making this vlog, it's gone into, well, a couple of places. It's gone into a garage first of all, to get a full once-over, just to make sure everything's running. I'm having the valves looked at. I'm not exactly having the valves done unless it's needed. And I'm just getting a service and obviously just a rear sprocket and chain redone, and a couple of other little bits and pieces there. Make sure all the fluids are replaced as well inside the bike. On top of that, well, after that rather, I should say, it's going off to a paint sprayer to get the scratches done on the bodywork, which I wasn't too happy about, as you know, because it was sold to me as mint condition. Well, the advert said mint, and when I rang the chap on the phone, he also told me mint, and of course it wasn't mint. Well, not my version of mint. So after the paint sprayer, it's then going in to get the front forks and the wheels. Well, the front forks are getting powder coated black, and the wheels are going to be done gold as well. I'm not sure if the wheels will be done by the same guy who's doing the spraying, or whether they'll be done by this separate company who are doing the front forks. I'll wait and see on prices. Okay, so that's enough about the VFR. As you know as well, I've just done a review on Insta360's new X3 camera. Very exciting times for tech, folks, especially when you're a motor vlogger. And I mean, the angles we can get now on board our beautiful two-wheeled machines, just to show it off to the fullest, is you know, I know I keep saying this, but I only keep harping on about it because it always amazes me what we can do with these beautiful little action cameras. And on top of that, and probably by the time this little spin out comes out to YouTube, GoPro are releasing some new models. I believe they're releasing the Hero 11 Black and also a Hero 11 Mini. That's what the rumours are. Like I say, haven't been released yet, but should be out very soon. Well, by now, as I say, by the time you're watching this video. Very interested to see what they have to offer. Very interested to see if their cameras actually work this time. Okay, I'll end the GoPro chat there. The other thing I'm very, very excited about is DJI are bringing out, or rumoured to be bringing out, a new action cam. And again, that could already be on the market by the time this video is on YouTube. DJI, as you know, are world renowned for their drones and camera tech. I've recently bought the DJI radio mics, which I'm using for work, and they are absolutely faultless. They're incredible, just like the drones. So very excited to see what they can do with their new action cam. Their previous action cam was incredible. I just didn't like the colour profile from it, which is what stopped me using it as a mainstream camera. But hey ho, we'll wait and see what the new one brings. So I'm popping and gurgling through my local town there. I love the atmosphere on a Saturday morning. I think I've said this before in some of my vlogs, but everybody seems to come out and about. I've noticed it more in Irish rural villages, and they just come out for a chat. It's so lovely. It's a shame I'm riding through it, actually. Would have been nice to stop for a while. Feel like a bit of a local now, although I remember when we were building the house here 22 years ago or something like that, and I was bringing the builders a tray of coffee from the local cafe there in the town, and they were very curious. Not the builders, the people in the cafe were very curious as to who I was. Keep calling in every weekend and bringing coffees for a bunch of lads. Anyway, I told them that I was moving into the town, and I was moving over from England and whatever else like that. And I remember one lady behind the counter, she says, well, as long as you know one thing, she says, in 40 years' time, you'll still be known as a blow-in. She meant that with the fullest affection, of course, and of course I still am known around the village as the plastic paddy and the blow-in. So anyway, full of love and full of great sentiment, great people, very lucky, especially having these roads on my doorstep. So I'm heading down at the moment to a place called Sheridan's, which is a beautiful, it's actually a cheesemongers, but it's a beautiful spin out on a Saturday morning. And it's always, it's about a 15-minute drive, or ride. How dare I say drive? 15-minute ride, and it's just, well, stunning. Blows the cobwebs out. I've been away for the last month, so I haven't really had chance to do many up-to-date videos. I sort of banked about 6 or 7 videos on the shelf and, well, locked and loaded them onto YouTube just to keep a video coming every week as I was away. So fear not, there will be very soon, there will be a lot more up-to-date videos coming. Some of you might be pleased to know that, well, I've got one more week left to do in England. I'm heading back over there tomorrow. I'm only home for the weekend. Just needed to come home and remind the kids who their dad was. So I'm heading back to England for tomorrow, just for a week. And then I have 3 weeks off. So I'm going off recording some mountain passes. I'm also recording some new sculpture vids. And on top of that, I have a few other surprises planned. Actually, I've got one I'm really excited about. So hopefully that shall be done and winging its way to you on YouTube before the end of autumn. Well, hopefully before the winter sets in. So that's my bike news. That's my tech news. I shall give you some kayak news. I've been meaning to do this for actually the last couple of years. One of the places I love going out for a spin, especially in lockdown, is a place called Castle Lake in Ballyborough. It's about, well, less than 10 minutes from where I am. And because of the restrictions in lockdown, I was allowed to ride a motorbike there because it's less than 5 miles or whatever it was. So it was a regular stop off for me just to, you know, clear the head and stay sane. And as I was there, I always admired people out on the lake in their kayaks. I just thought that looked the most incredible thing to do. So I've recently bought the family a couple of kayaks, and yesterday, my first day back, we spent the day on the lake. As many of you have heard me say as well, we have 365 lakes in the county where I live. Now the reason for that is that it rains a lot. So one lake for every day of the year, but it's just a sin that I haven't really tapped into them. Don't really go fishing enough, and certainly haven't got into the boating side of things. So I thought, well, an easy way and a fairly affordable way of tapping into that was to buy a couple of kayaks. So spent the day with the kids on the lake yesterday, and it was just magical. I absolutely love it. And it's one of those things, when I'm not out riding a motorbike in the rain, I'd love to go out on the kayak in the rain. Yeah, can't wait for that actually. But yesterday it was a day like this, and it was absolutely blissful. So great investment. Kids think I'm the best dad ever. Well, until I go away again tomorrow. And Mrs. Perry is also rather quite happy with this idea I've had. Much better than buying another motorbike, I think was her quote. So anyway, I'm playing down the amount of work I'm getting done on the VFR. There was literally pictures and no sound when she came home, and so that there was another bike in the stable. But you know what it's like, folks. I think it's called addiction. It's a shame there's not something parallel to the AA for motorcycle addicts. I would be at about 2 or 3 meetings a week at the minute. In fact, as I've just said, you know, being away for the last month, this is one thing you've got to look out for. In the country here, people just walking the the verges of the road, no high vis or nothing like that, because they didn't do that in days of old. But you just got to, especially when you're driving through patches of dark and light, keep your wits about you. So that's pretty much my catch-up. How are you all doing? I hope everybody's good. I hope everybody's well. It's been a fantastic summer, certainly in Ireland and the UK, which is where I've spent most of my summer working. But it's been stunning for riding bikes over here. It's about that time of year where my bikes all go in and get serviced and then come back, and I WD-40, well not WD-40, ACF50 them, and just put in my damp shed for the winter. Just, well, apart from this one, of course, this one still has pride of place in the hallway. But my big project for next year is to build, well, I'm calling it a garage, but the more I go back to the design board with it, it's turning out to, well, on paper it looks like a New York style loft apartment. Now, I haven't had any quotes or any prices to do any of this work, so I suspect it will end up as a makeshift garage, or maybe a feckin' lean-to at this stage. Oh, I love the sound of this bike. I don't know if you've realised, by the way, I was intrigued with the sound quality on this Insta 1 RS. Love the camera, fantastic, never any issues, doesn't overheat, doesn't freeze, doesn't crash. I was a little bit disturbed by the quality of the audio. Bearing in mind, it's the same gripper mount setup that I use, so I hot swapped this entire mount from helmet to helmet, and indeed bike to bike. However, I do change cameras sometimes, depending on how the mood suits. I try the GoPro Hero 10 in the hope that it's fixed. And I've noticed between the two cameras that the audio is so much clearer on the Hero 10. So I contacted Insta360. Now, we formed a WhatsApp group, certain engineers and the marketing manager from Insta360, throughout the process of me reviewing the new X3 camera. So I was quite privileged to have that access direct to the engineers. So I asked them about the audio quality of the 1RS, and it's because the audio runs at 16 kilohertz and not 48 kilohertz. That's why it just wasn't clear. So hopefully that's going to be updated in a future firmware upgrade. Actually, on that note, that's one thing I'm very happy with Insta360. This morning I put this camera back on, and I'm also using the 1X2, not the X3, because the X3 was a very early pre-production model that I was reviewing, and it had to go back to Insta. So I have the 1X2 on board today doing all of these shots whilst I'm waiting for my production model of the X3. Anyway, one thing I love about Insta360 is that they don't forget about their previous models. So I paired the 1X2 with my phone app this morning, and straight away it told me that a software update was required. It was seamless, had the whole thing done in less than 5 minutes. Don't really know what the upgrade was for or why it was needed, but it's just nice to know that they still think about the previous models, unlike some other action camera companies. Anyway, we're nearly at Sheridan's. It's nearly coffee time. And what a wonderful Saturday morning spin out this is so far. One thing you will notice, of course, on this camera, the 1RS, is that the lens just isn't wide enough to capture a good vista of the cockpit as such. You can see the tiles in the bottom of the picture, and very little headroom in the sky, so apologies for that. That's another reason I love the GoPro with the Max Lens mod. So hopefully with all of these new cameras, like I was talking about before, that'll be addressed with new accessories and mods for all of the new action cameras coming out. I'm also wearing my Oxford retro leather jacket today. For those of you who remember, I always wear this when I'm doing the sculptures video. I actually bought it because I wanted to send a promo video off to television networks about that. As I was approached by a couple of people saying, you wouldn't put that together on paper and send it in to TV stations here, would you? We'd be very interested in looking at this for a series. And all I can say to finish off that little bit of news is I can't talk any more about it at the moment, but hopefully very soon there shall be some very exciting news to tell you. So, you know me, I'm loose-mouthed, so I'll have to move on from this subject very quick, because as my father-in-law once told me, I'd only known him a couple of weeks, and I'll never forget the phrase he said to me. He says, "Dave," he said, "you can't hold your piss." Which obviously means I'm very loose-jawed. I can't shut up. Funny that. The other thing I was going to tell you, when I brought the bike, the Royal Enfield, out of the hall this morning to come out on this little jaunt, it's always worthwhile, and it's a great routine to stay in, even though you might ride your bikes every week. But I hadn't ridden this Royal Enfield in 6 weeks. Checked the tyre pressures. The tyres were down by 10 psi on both the front and the rear. So I blew them up obviously before heading out on this trip today. But just goes to show, when the bike is sitting still doing nothing, you do lose a good bit of air out of your tyres. I'm not sure if it's the same on every bike or just with these tyres or rims. I shall get them all checked when this goes in for its service very shortly. I still haven't turned over 1,000 miles. I've had this bike for what, nearly 2 years, I think. 843 miles. And I know I keep harping on about it being my Sunday bike and weekend bike and everything, but sure, she's as good as new. Absolutely spotless as well. But I absolutely adore the bike. Slip out there. It's a funny little jagged crossroads, that. Sometimes you'll be there 10 minutes trying to get out safely. So for those of you who are watching this in Ireland and the UK, please, if you're into Channel 4's Come Down With Me, give it a watch, because that's what I've been filming all summer. Spending the entire summer in people's kitchens and dining rooms. Hold on, I'm just trying to sort this camera out here so you can see a bit more of the bike, hopefully. Yeah, it's been a great laugh, a great series. We've also been shooting the new Professional, as it's called, the new version of Come Down With Me, which is set in people's restaurants. So it's a whole new twist on it, and obviously they're vying for first place, and obviously to let the nation know exactly how good the food is in restaurants, which is not always the case. And I shall leave that one there as well. Okay, Sheridan's Coffee Shop is just around the corner here. They should be sponsoring me at this stage, because I've mentioned them a good few times, and like I say, it's just a wonderful short spin out with the prize at the end of the spin. So I'm going to cut the camera there. On that note, if you fancy buying me a coffee, you can always do that with the link in the description below. Okay, great to have you. This is it here. I've just got to drive around the corner into the courtyard. Oh, look, a cyclist cutting a corner. Imagine that. Oh, Dave, don't turn negative now. I've had a lovely, lovely spin out. I'll keep the camera going just so you can see where the courtyard is into Sheridan's here. Here we go. Busy morning. Not too busy. There's a table for me. I think I'll park the bike over here. Alright, I shall cut the coffee now and cut the coffee, cut the motorbike. I still can't multitask. I am getting old. Alright, okay, great to have you along, folks. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.